Mr. President, thank you. Prior to arriving in the United States Senate after the election of 2010, I was a member of the House of Representatives, and I'm one of the 30% of us in Congress today who were here in 2001 and approved the use of military force in response to the terrorist attacks of 9/11. I hate to say this at this moment because the vote is so closely pending, but I don't know what the right answer to this question is. The one that we face today. I firmly believe that it is the United States Senate, the United States Congress's authority, the constitutional responsibility to declare war. I worry that the resolution that's before us only eliminates the current resolutions, only eliminates the current authority. What's missing is the follow-up, and I just heard my colleague from Connecticut indicate that he will work vigorously to see that we have the opportunity then to vote for a resolution authorizing force. But in some ways we have the cart ahead of the horse. I will be one who will always argue that it is our responsibility, it is Congress's responsibility to make these decisions as determined by the United States Constitution. It gives us that authority and that responsibility. The question in my mind, is it prudent to eliminate the authorizations today before we have a new authorization in place? And I don't know the answer to that question. And while I have heard my colleagues say we'll work to accomplish that, I worry, having experienced the United States Senate now for the last 7 years, that a 6-month opportunity will be foregone. Those authorizations may not occur. And at best, once again, the United States Senate may be presented with a fait accompli, which is, here is a resolution authorizing force. We're out of time. The 6 months is run. Take it or leave it. We will have a gun to our head to approve something in an expeditious way that is not really what I'd be supportive of. And once again, I'll have the dilemma, do I vote for some authorization of force, even though it's not the one that is well thought out? If I thought we were going to do an authorization of force, I would have expected it to have occurred already. I commend Senator Corker, the chairman of the committee, and many of my colleagues who have worked to put an authorization, a resolution in place, and voted it out of the committee, but no vote has occurred on the United States Senate floor. No vote has occurred in the U.S. House of Representatives. And I don't know whether we're setting the stage for us to be in, once again, a position of here it is, take it or leave it, or worse than that, I suppose, is leaving those who serve our country in a position of not knowing whether or not their Congress supports their efforts. This is not as if this is prospective. We already have troops on the ground in Afghanistan. I just returned from Afghanistan. This is my 4th visit there. I was there over the weekend of Labor Day. I came to the conclusion that we belong in Afghanistan. I don't believe this is about rebuilding Afghanistan as much as it is about protecting Americans. 21 terrorist organizations at work in Afghanistan out to kill citizens of the United States, attack us. And we have a government of Afghanistan that's allowing us the opportunity to be engaged in a battle to defeat those terrorist organizations. The idea that we would walk away, in fact, I heard my colleagues earlier talk about how long we've been there. Does anybody talk about how long terrorism is going to be with us? So the idea that we should set a parameter for our time frame, knowing that we're engaged in a great battle for the future of our nation with terrorist organizations who want us dead, seems to be the wrong way to look at this issue. I don't know what the right time frame is, and I'm saddened that we're still there. But it's not a matter of time, it's a matter of accomplishment of the mission of ending terrorist attacks against the United States. 9/11 remains fresh in my mind. So the issue that we face is, does this resolution offered by the senator from Kentucky put us in a position in which we finally do what we are supposed to do, which in my view is authorize declare war, not necessarily an authorization of the use of force. But whatever that mechanism of authorization is, this resolution, this vote we'll take today, does it put us in a position to take advantage of a circumstance in which Congress finally utilizes its authority and accepts its responsibility? I don't know the answer to that question. We are making progress in Afghanistan. The greatest evidence of that to me was my visit to Bagram, to the hospital, in which I learned 84% of the patients at the hospital are Afghani, not Americans. I support the resolution, the statement of strategy by the administration in regard to our efforts in Afghanistan, and particularly the need to deal with Pakistan and the sanctuary. The last thing I would want to do, having just returned from visiting with troops, including many Kansans, is to make a decision today that they no longer are supported by Congress. Going to war is something that, in my view, has been too easy in the United States, and we've had presidential leadership for a long time that has downplayed the importance of war. We've been told it will be easy, oil revenues will pay for the war. It seems as if our political leadership in this country wants the American citizens to believe that we can go to war and they not suffer any consequence or participate in any way. Declaring war and authorization of force by Congress brings the American people into this, and rather than downplaying the significance and sacrifice and making certain that others, not just our soldiers and their families, not just our military men and women and their families are the ones who make a sacrifice, that we're all in this together, would involve a Congress making a decision that this endeavor, whatever it is worth the potential loss of life by Americans who serve in our military. Mr. President, these are difficult, challenging, but important decisions. And I want to work with my colleagues to find the right solution, not just to walk away from a resolution, but to make sure we have in place something that gives the authority to our troops to succeed. I yield the floor.